have you ever stopped to think about how the words you're reading right this second even got here? Well, today we're going to dive into this incredible story, a journey that goes back thousands of years. We're going to see how the simple act of putting words on a page literally changed the entire world. So let's jump right in.
In this quote right here, it really is the heart of our story. See, the history of printing isn't just about gadgets and technology. It's the story of how ideas get born, how they get shared, and how they stick around. It's basically the history of how we all learned to think together.
So where do we even begin? We have to go way back to the ancient world, a time when recording knowledge was this monumental, almost sacred task, and it was reserved for a very, very small group of people.
I mean, look at all these different methods. You've got people pressing reeds into wet clay in Mesopotamia, or painstakingly painting these beautiful hieroglyphs in Egypt. The one thing they all had in common, though, they were incredibly slow, and the materials were super hard to come by.
And that created a massive bottleneck for information. Think about it. If every single word of every single book has to be copied out by hand, well, knowledge just can't spread. It becomes this treasure, right? It's locked away, it's guarded. It's definitely not a tool for everybody.
And the time commitment? It was staggering. We are talking about one single scribe taking months, sometimes even years, just to copy one book. This wasn't just an inconvenience. It shaped the entire course of ancient and medieval society.
So, you have this huge problem, this problem of scarcity. And that is what sets the stage for one of the most important inventions in all of human history. It is time to talk about Gutenberg's Great Revolution.
This was the big question everyone was trying to crack. How do you break knowledge out of the palace? How do you solve the problem of one scribe, one book, 1 year? The world was desperate for a way to scale up the production of ideas.
And this was the answer. What Johannes Gutenberg invented wasn't just a machine, it was a whole new system. The real game changer here was the movable metal type. Little individual letters of metal that you could reuse and rearrange to print basically any page you could imagine. Genius. You know, the process seems almost simple to us now, right? You set the type, you ink it up, you press the paper, and you do it again. But that last step, repeat for hundreds of identical copies, that was the explosion. That's what broke the whole one-to-one system of copying.
I mean, the scale of this change is just astronomical. What used to take a highly skilled person years to create could now be churned out by a printing press in just a matter of weeks. The floodgates of information were officially creaking open.
But it wasn't just about making more books. It was about what those books could do. The printing press didn't just print pages. It set ideas on fire, letting them spread in ways no one could have imagined before. And just look at how fast this thing took off. Within just a couple of decades of being invented in Germany, printing presses were humming away in cities all across Europe and then beyond. By the 1800s, you throw steam power into the mix and printing becomes a full-blown global industry.
And the ripple effects? They literally changed the world. Think about the Reformation. Martin Luther posts his arguments, and suddenly printing presses are copying them and spreading them all over Germany in weeks, way too fast for the church to stop it. These huge movements, the Renaissance, the scientific revolution, none of them could have happened on that scale without the ability to spread new ideas and challenge the old ones. And this, right here, is maybe the biggest takeaway of all. Information was no longer limited by the speed of a horse or a ship. A printed pamphlet could ignite a revolution way faster than a king could send an army to crush it. Power was shifting from the sword to the printed word.
All right, let's fast forward a bit into the 20th century, because this is where the revolution gets personal. Printing wasn't just for big industries anymore, it was about to come into our homes.
I mean, this comparison really says it all. We went from these enormous factory-sized machines that needed teams of people to operate to these little boxes that could sit on your desk and print just for you.
And this was all thanks to the digital leap. You combine a personal computer with these new, affordable technologies like inkjet and laser printers, and boom, you've basically put a print shop on every single desk. Suddenly, anyone could create and print a document.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Gutenberg gave the power to publish to a few hundred printers, but the personal computer and printer, they gave that power to millions and eventually billions of regular people.
But the story is not over, not by a long shot. The latest twist in this tale takes us completely off the page and into a whole new dimension.
And this is the mind-bending question at the heart of 3D printing.
What if you could take that same basic idea, a digital file, becomes a physical copy, but instead of a document, you're making an actual three-dimensional object?
And this isn't some far-off sci-fi dream. It is happening right now. We're talking custom-printed prosthetic limbs, rapid prototypes for new inventions, even printing food. 3D printing is completely changing how we make, well, pretty much everything.
So when you step back and look at the whole story, you see this amazing, unbroken line. It's all driven by the same fundamental human need, to take an idea, whether it's a story, a blueprint, or a design, and make it real, from a simple mark in clay to a complex prosthetic hand.
Which brings us to one last big question for the future. As AI gets better and better at generating not just text, but complex 3D designs, the very meaning of printing an idea is changing all over again. The next revolution might not just be about how we share information, but about how we literally create reality itself.